Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel for part number 4 of this Ford 2-in rebuild and restoration. We're almost done with the mechanical side of this tractor, and then we'll be able to go to more of the restoration side, which is the painting and everything else. But real quick, I wanted to say all of the things that I'm covering for this 2-in tractor applies to all the in-series tractors for the most part. All the mechanical features like the distributor, the alternator, the wiring harness, all pretty much apply to each one of those tractors. There might be a little minor differences, but that's about it. Now in last video, we went ahead and replaced the entire wiring harness, and then after that video, I went ahead and tried firing and turning this girl over, but she wasn't budging at all. She was cranking, but she wasn't starting. So we backtracked it, and we thought that she wasn't getting spark. Something wasn't right. The distributor might be wrong. And after I went ahead and retested the distributor a couple times, I figured out the distributor was not incorrect. We just weren't getting spark. So we backtracked it. We replaced all the cables, all the spark plugs, and we backtracked all the wiring. And it came down to the simple wire that gives the distributor its power was not connected all the way. I'll walk you through how I diagnosed that, and I figured it out, how we weren't getting spark, and what it all came down to in the end. And then this video is really more of an informational video. If you are working on an in-series tractor, whether it's a 2, 8, or 9, I'm going to more or less be showing you how to diagnose your tractor and figure out what actually needs to be replaced before you start like throwing a new distributor at it because you don't want to mess with points, or a new governor at it because you think that might be the problem. Before you just start throwing stuff at these old tractors, it can get pretty expensive if you do. So I'm just going to show you how to figure out what actually needs to be replaced, and just kind of troubleshoot problems that might happen. For example, my distributor came down to a little simple thing that was a $10 buy off yesterday's tractors.com. And it was a really simple thing than replacing the entire distributor, which is way more expensive. So in this video, I'm just going to be showing you how to diagnose your tractor and how to figure out what actually needs to be done rather than just throwing things at it. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and crank this tractor over. I'll let you hear how she runs, how she idles, and then we're going to see how she drives and figure out what needs to happen next. Because I know for a fact there is a knock somewhere in the back end of this tractor. And it could just be as simple as when the last owner took it apart, might have dropped a bolt or a rock or something in there. So we'll figure it out once we drive her around. But for right now, let's take off this hood, and I'll start showing you how I fixed the problem of not getting spark, and then we'll go from there. As I said a few minutes ago, after we put the wiring harness on, I still was not getting spark. It was acting like it was going to crank, but it just never turned over. So we weren't getting spark. Went ahead and replaced all the cables, as you can see, along with the spark plugs underneath, and we still weren't getting spark. So we were kind of confused because we knew it wasn't the distributor. Now we knew it wasn't the cables or the spark plugs, and we were just eliminating stuff as we went. So I went ahead and took this brown cable all the way back to the ballast resistor right here. And since this ballast resistor is broken and it's not functioning properly, I went ahead and ordered a new one. That should be here in a couple days. But essentially, in the purest sense, the ballast resistor, besides creating more and less resistance when it's cold outside and the weather is how the weather is, it is essentially a gate and a pass-through for these wires. So each of these 3 points are connected within this ballast resistor, and it wasn't making the proper connections. So I went ahead and bypassed the brown cable and put it straight on the cable that gets the gets the juice from the battery. So as you can see, we go up from the push start to the amp meter, and then it jumps over, and then it jumps down to this pole of the ballast resistor. So I went ahead and took the brown cable from this and just bypassed it, and then we were getting spark perfectly fine, and I was able to test we were getting spark by this handy little gadget. I have no idea the name of this thing. It's a spark finder in my mind. That is not the name. I can't remember the name for the life of me. But essentially, you plug this end into the spark plug. You take your ground and you ground it anywhere on the tractor. And then you have this little needle that moves up and down, and essentially it just depends, and you're gonna have to mess with it a little bit to figure out where your spark plug is and set it like that. So if you have one of the spark plug gauges, the little round things, you can set it like that to set it how your spark plug is, and then see if you're getting spark like that. But essentially this just tests, it goes into the cable, it grounds out, so it tests if you're getting spark, and if you're getting spark, you should see a little lightning bolt in between. So I'll press the button right here, and if you're curious why this is jerry-rigged right here, it's because we do not have the original button. That one's blown out, and we have to order that one because, well, Orscheln's and all the other places that are around us do not sell it. So we had to order it through Yesterday Tractors. Should be here in a couple days as well. So I'm going to connect this to the battery. We're going to go ahead and disconnect all of these spark plugs so tractor doesn't accidentally start when it shouldn't, because then the timing will be off and that'll be bad news. I'm going to press this button, and as you will see, I'm going to zoom you in here in a second, but as you will see, there will be a little lightning bolt that goes through here, and if you go through every single one, you should get the same amount of spark that you got the original time. And all it's testing is when that needle goes around within the distributor, that it's getting the spark. So the timing for this particular tractor, and I believe for all 9N series tractors, is literally 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll go spark, 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 and it'll just keep going in that order, and that's how the cylinders fire. So I'm going to zoom you in, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, as I was just saying, this has your spark cable on one end and then grounded over here. So if this is functioning properly and you are getting spark, you should be able to see a little lightning bolt in between there. Now, like I said, you can adjust this screw to wherever you need it to be. About right there is the distance for my spark plug, and you can use one of those circular spark plug testers as well to see the distance. Now, if I press this button, okay, like you just saw in that little test, this little tester comes extremely handy if you're not sure you're getting spark or not. So if you have taken your tractor apart and she's not firing, or she's not firing properly, like you can hear she's missing or something along those lines, first go ahead and check your distributor. So take a simple little tester kit, one of those ones with the light bulbs, connect your positive in here, ground it out somewhere on the tractor, and if your distributor flashes on and off really fast, you know that it's working properly. If it stays solid, it's not working. If it doesn't turn on at all, the light doesn't turn on at all, your distributor is clearly not working. So go ahead and start there, and go ahead and go back 2 videos to part number 2, where I completely disassemble it and reassemble it. Watch that video, do exactly what I do, and you will be able to get that part fixed. And after that, if you're still not getting spark, go ahead and check out this ballast resistor. Before you go ahead and replace your spark plug cables and spark plugs, go ahead and check this out, because this is a $10 part, and this altogether is probably about $50–60. Just diagnose the problem before you just start throwing things in it. So that's essentially what I'm saying. This little tester is about $15 at AutoZone. You can go there, you can go to your local hardware store. I'm sure you're probably going to be able to find it if they have car or tractor parts at all. But it's a great essential little thing to have in your toolbox if you're trying to diagnose a car, trying to diagnose a tractor. But diagnosing the problem is so critical when you're looking at an older tractor or an older vehicle, rather than just throwing things at it hoping it works. Okay, here in a second, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the hood back on. I'm gonna crank her over. I'll show you how she runs, and then we're gonna go ahead and take her for a test drive. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this YouTube video. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to support this channel, I have a Patreon, I'll link it down below, along with a bunch of other stuff about this tractor and the in-series tractors in general if you want to fix up your own. As you can see and as you heard, we got her running nice. The next part of this project is going to be tackling the hydraulic pump on the back of it. It's currently not working, but other than that, she works and she drives. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.